This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
You're plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA-related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Faith is the place. The sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the one and only Troy Adams.
It's the biggest podcast party of the summer. It's our TakeOver and SummerSlam review show. I am your loving leader, benevolent host, Midwest Monster, and you've only got to let me in. I'm Troy Adams, and joining me today for this momentous occasion here on the Podcast Wrestling Society, he is the unofficial fourth member of the New Day and the missing Street Profit. He is the tall, skinny guy, Tarren Bland. What up?
Oh, Troy Adams! How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, it's been a wild weekend in pro wrestling. I decided to piss my buddy Greg off by texting him. I said, the biggest wrestling news of the entire weekend is that Orange Cassidy is on the AEW roster. He hasn't responded back yet, so I'm still waiting.
Oh, he might not respond back anytime soon.
he might have kicked something when I sent him that. I actually have some notes from Greg over the weekend that, besides you and me watching on TV, he was there all weekend live in Toronto, so he was able to send me some good stuff. You know, he had the dubious honor, I guess, of sitting behind an AEW fanboy who was also reading Dave Meltzer's reports on his phone while watching the show.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. So we had an Uncle Dave fanboy sitting in front of Greg who was apparently really mad at Greg for cheering for the baby faces and not cheering for the heels.
What?
Yeah, because apparently it's only cool if you cheer for the heels, Tarren. Everybody knows that.
Oh, of course. All right. Well, luckily I wasn't there because I would have given him a piece of my damn mind.
Yeah, I guess Greg made him mad multiple times just by saying crap to him.
He's one of the many mother Canuckers that I couldn't stand.
Oh, yeah. I know. And then he said he heard multiple people. It's like, man, I can't wait for Cody to crush Vince. And the thing is, they're waiting in line to get into the building for SummerSlam saying this crap. I sent Greg something back. I was like, man, WWE sucks, man. I can't wait for Cody to crush him. You want to stop at the shop zone before we head to our seats?
Exactly. Like, you're talking all this crap, but then you're giving Vince money, basically.
Yeah. It's the dumbest crap I've ever seen. Freaking fanboy marks. And if you are one of those fanboy marks, and I don't know why you're listening to us because we mock you relentlessly on every episode, but, whatever. And I'm not talking crap about AEW here. I'm talking crap about the ones that's like, it's one or the other. You gotta choose one. Like,
screw that.
Yeah.
This isn't the Monday Night Wars over again. This isn't the 90s.
No.
We have so much technology. We can DVR one, watch the other. We just enjoy wrestling as a whole.
I do. I will say, like every single year I've set out, I'm like, I'm going to watch the G1 Climax start to finish. And then halfway through, I'm like, my gosh, this is a lot of wrestling.
Yes.
And I just stop. But I guess I'm not a good fanboy. Because I just, I can't
I wouldn't
keep up.
even want to be a fanboy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily want to be a fanboy, but it's like, it is a lot of good wrestling. but it's a lot of wrestling.
Well, we have lives to live, you know? I mean,
yeah, right. Like you have a job. I mean, I have a job and a wife. It's like, you know, you got stuff you do besides your job with your free time. You know, it just, I don't, but
yeah, like the stuff that comes on TV, like that's just enough wrestling for me. And if there's anything that happens on like a Saturday night or whatever, I'm probably not going to watch it because like I say, I'm so busy. But
well, I guess somebody asked, because Chris Jericho was commenting on SummerSlam, complimenting something that happened, and somebody was like, "You still watch the WWE product?" And he was like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" Like, I don't understand why this has to be a thing. Like, it's okay that
people
WWE...
are stupid idiots. That's why.
Yeah, well, it's like it's okay that the WWE talent is tweeting about Double or Nothing. But if an AEW guy tweets about SummerSlam, it's like, what are you doing? I don't get it.
Dumbass.
Yeah.
Dumbass, I should say.
Yes. Well, I'll have to ask you, man. What did you think of TakeOver to start with?
From start to finish, other than and not taking nothing away from Shayna Baszler and Mia. What, is Mia Kim or Mia Yim?
Mia Yim.
Yim. Other than that match, the rest of the card was, and the rest of the card was fantastic. And I just feel like they just didn't. Maybe fans were at that point tired or just like saving themselves for the Cole Gargano match. But
probably
for me, like fan participation plays a huge part in my viewing of a wrestling match, especially on TV. And they just didn't seem like they were that interested in that match.
Some of this card I had to watch because I was like watching the shows while I'm doing other things. I'm like multitasking. So the crowd reaction didn't play in a whole lot for me with this and SummerSlam. But I mean, there were certain things I listened to, particularly just hear if there was a pop or not. So I mean, I don't know. I personally loved that match. I didn't think it was like spectacular, but I thought it was one of Shayna Baszler's best. And I don't know. I mean, she's good and all, but Shayna's not known for having like these blowaway matches that you're left remembering.
Right. And I just need to know like what are they going to do with her? I mean,
I don't know.
She's held that title. I think it's been like a year, hasn't it? At least she won it last year at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think so. So maybe because they're going to FS1. They're
right.
going to go head. They're going to go head to head with AEW. They're going to do the 2-hour show. I don't know if I'm excited for that or not because they said Vince is going to finally be more hands-on with NXT.
See, that's what I was concerned with. If Vince is more hands-on with it, then
yeah, I mean, I'm going to hold out hope that it's not. But I don't know. I'm hoping he leaves the same team in charge of everything, but we'll see how it goes. But maybe Shayna Baszler will be their Ronda Rousey or their female Brock Lesnar heading on to FS1.
So I have to ask you this question because I've been talking to a few buddies of mine. Do you think NXT will be their own separate brands now?
I think so.
Instead of being that developmental place where people go, is it their own brand now since they're going to FS1?
Actually, I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to basically be what it is now because if you see their quote, they're still quote calling people up, So it's, I don't know. They called. They basically called Johnny Gargano up. So if they're still doing that, I mean, they do that with 205 Live. It's like, Buddy Murphy, quote, got called up from 205 Live. So it's a weird thing.
My thing for it, I think they should be their own brand, and I think they should, just to keep something on the network, have a developmental show on the network still. That's like an hour or something long.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, FS1 isn't. FS1, like the ratings for that are so small compared to like a Fox or even a USA Network. So I think that's why they're willing to gamble with it on that station. So they're like, whatever, it's just FS1. So, and I mean, it's popular, but it's not anywhere near the level of the other channels that WWE products are on.
Right.
Other than, I mean, it's got more eyes than the network, like a 205 Live or something, or what NXT is now. And I think doesn't everybody get FS1?
I believe so.
Yeah, so maybe I'm sure it'll get more eyes on the product, and it'll make it so when they show up on a Raw or a SmackDown, people aren't completely confused as to who these people are.
Well, that's if people even tune in. I mean, to watch it. I mean, I know we watch. Well, for me personally, I watch all the takeovers, but I never go out my way and say, "Oh, I have to catch NXT every Wednesday night."
I used to be that way, but
I just get the quick highlights off of YouTube if I need to see.
I did the same thing. Yeah, I used to catch up with it. I used to watch it religiously. Same with Raw and SmackDown, and then I just kind of fell out of it because there's just so much product to consume. I couldn't take it anymore. So I mean, I'll probably treat it like I do with Raw and SmackDown now. I watch the highlights on YouTube, like you're talking about. But I'm sure they're going to step it up, especially if they're going to compete with AEW. They're going to want to have hey, look at us, instead of over there, look over here. But FS1's ratings are nowhere near what a TNT is.
Right.
So I don't know if that's going to play into it. But we'll see. I'm sure they'll, during SmackDown and Raw, I'm sure they'll drive home, hey, FS1, NXT, check it out. But you never know. I don't know how many people are actually going to watch and go out of their way for it. But
now have they reported, is it going to be direct competition, same time?
I think so. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But
I wouldn't mind if they started an hour earlier or an hour later.
Yeah, preempt it or something. Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice. But seeing what they're going to do and the fact that they're bumping it up to 2 hours, they might. I can almost bet money that they're going to run directly against AEW. Anything they can do to take eyeballs away from AEW, they'll do it.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
We'll have to wait and see. It's something new that they're trying. It might work, it might flop, but I'm sure it'll do well because NXT is. If Vince lets NXT continue to be NXT, it's consistently it's probably their best product.
And honestly, my biggest thing, I'm just concerned. I hope they stick to what it is. Stick to mainly the wrestling. They don't need to incorporate no funny segments or you can have. I mean, obviously you have promos, but we don't need any of the satire.
Right.
We don't need none of the funny crap. Keep that on SmackDown and Raw. NXT strictly wrestling.
Well, and if they continue to film at Full Sail for the show, it's going to have a completely different feel than Raw and SmackDown like it currently does.
Right.
So, if they decide to travel with it, then it's going to start to feel like just, we've got between Monday and Tuesday, we've got 5 hours, and it'll just be a 6 hour of the same thing. Because, I don't know, the Full Sail atmosphere is different.
Oh, 100%. There's about to be a lot of wrestling this fall.
Oh, I know. I'm excited and tired just thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm excited and tired because I'm a huge sports fan, and that's right in the middle of football and basketball season. So it's like, when am I going to have time to sleep? Trying to watch everything.
Well, that's why I wait until the day after the show, and then I watch it on like 2 times speed on Daily Motion. That's what I did with TakeOver, or with some of TakeOver, because I was like, I got so much time to watch this. I'm going to watch it in double time. SummerSlam, I watched it in real time. So, but we'll take a real quick break here. When we come back, we'll dive all into NXT TakeOver and Toronto, and then after that we'll talk some SummerSlam. But right now we're going to tell you about some other great podcasts here on the Big Heads Media Network. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Pistons Thoughts, where we talk, well,
you guessed it, Pistons.
Come join us weekly for everything Pistons. I swear we're fun.
Yeah, maybe.
A little bit, right?
Just a tiny bit.
Okay. Well, either way, you'll probably have a great time. Come on and listen.
In a world where digital content barrels towards us at relentless breakneck speeds, where posts and memes and tweets and snaps rain down a punishing assault of attention-grabbing data, 3 heroic podcasters with a strong background in broadcast media are taking on the internet. Each week, we break down the trends, technology, and connections that are transforming our lives. We are Things I Found Online.
Available wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back. Time to dive into some TakeOver Toronto. I thought it was another great TakeOver card here. You said you enjoyed it. It was at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Total attendance of 13,735. So, not bad.
Home of the NBA champion Toronto Raptors.
Oh, yeah. Dude, first of all, Greg, being a Warriors fan, absolutely hated it. You know that idiot I told you about that was sitting in front of him? Well,
yeah.
When you saw Velveteen Dream's entrance.
Right.
And when he came out, Greg booed the hell out of it. He's a big Dream fan, but he booed the hell out of him. And the guy said, why are you booing the Dream? And he's like, because he's coming out with Raptors stuff. Or he said, because I'm a Warriors fan, and he's coming out with Raptors stuff. He's like, what do the Warriors have to do with the Raptors? And Greg was like, never mind. Like if you're that stupid, you don't deserve an answer. But
you still can't boo the Dream, though. Just say you were booing the Raptors, not the Dream.
I don't know. If Velveteen Dream came out doing a Pittsburgh Steelers entrance, I'd be like, screw you, boo, get out of here.
Okay, so let's just say, what was that? The halftime show. I forget what they called, but the halftime match they had. If he would have came out
halftime heat.
Yeah, halftime heat. If he would have came out dressed in an LA Rams uniform, you would have probably booed him instead of Tom Brady.
Maybe. I don't know. That one, I mean, yeah, probably, but it's not like mortal, not like a mortal, like I should really hate you type deal. But man, I'll tell you what, man, I told Greg, I said, I couldn't help looking at these shows thinking, man, they're going to be very dated with the Raptors references because they were all over this entire weekend. I can't remember how many people came out in Raptors gear or making Raptors references. It was a little much. I was like, I get it. They just won the finals, but calm down.
They're not going to calm down. This is probably their one and only championship they'll have.
Yeah, Greg was like, I'm calling it now. They're not even making the playoffs. And I'm like, well, we'll see. He was like, well, they lost the one player that got them to the playoffs anyway, so they're not going anywhere. But, that's just wishful thinking for him. But speaking of the Raptors, the Street Profits came out in Raptors colors, and I didn't even think about it till afterwards. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like the purple and the red.
The purple, yeah, the old Raptors, Vince Carter Day Raptors.
Yeah. Well, hey, the New Day did the same thing. We'll talk about them later. Yeah, it was Street Profits defending their titles against the Undisputed Era. It was nice to see Street Profits back on NXT and not just hyping random things on Raw. But they had a really good tag team title match, man, and I was shocked to see the Street Profits win. What do you think of that one?
I was shocked too, because going into this takeover, when you realize that every single member of Undisputed Era could have walked out with gold, I thought they were going to play that angle.
Yeah,
I was expecting all members of the Undisputed Era to win that night. But I'm glad they did keep the titles on the Street Profits, because I believe they only had maybe one title defense since they won the titles.
Something like that.
So they're trying to build them up as a credible tag team, and even though they've been on the main roster just basically cutting promos, you still want to establish them down in NXT as a viable and, like I say, credible tag teams before they get the final call up. So I'm glad the Street Profits won, and hopefully they can hold on to those titles. Maybe till December, I'm hoping, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they're a beloved tag team, man. People are really into them. I've heard some people complain they're not really digging the gimmick, but I mean, it gets over, and a lot of people like it. And I'm not sure how much of that is gimmick and how much of that is just them.
I say this all the time. I say the Street Profits are everything that Crime Time should have been in WWE. And Crime Time was great, but
their name was Crime Time.
Yeah.
that right there kind of killed them. And when they're doing vignettes where they're like big booting dudes and stealing out of their pockets, like, come on now. Like, Street Profits are just like dancing, having fun, and run around with bedazzled red Solo cups. They're drinking. I guess so. They have Crown Royal in them cups. Like, I don't even know. That could be a gimmick. They could spit Crown Royal, like do the mist, but with Crown Royal.
Oh, God.
That would be great. And that would burn. Oh, that would burn. Like, they'd win the match right there. The dude would just give up. But I was shocked with the end of this match, because it was just Montez Ford hit a frog splash on Kyle O'Reilly. It was beautiful, too, and he got the win. And everybody was putting this match over huge.
Great, like I said, great match to start off the card. The crowd was into it from start to finish, like they said, like you said. Undisputed Era, Street Profits, totally over down in NXT. Like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing these two teams go at it again down the road.
I think it's a little weird on one hand that the Street Profits are just basically hype men on Raw. But on the other hand, I like it because whereas they called up the last set of guys just cold and they only got minimal reactions, like, we're getting to know the Street Profits, and the people are getting to know, hey, this is what they do, this is who they are, before they ever step in the ring and have to get a pop, you know?
Exactly.
So it's that, in that respect, it's kind of cool, and I'm sure they're getting paid extra for, having to work extra. So
yeah, I mean, hell, and all their segments have been pretty funny, very entertaining on Raw and Raw.
Oh yeah, that was it. Was it SummerSlam where they were with Ric Flair?
Yep.
And they recreated that old was it the Colts that did the Colts locker room?
Yes.
The Ric Flair thing.
Give me two claps and Ric Flair. Woo! Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. And Ric Flair threw that line in my favor. He's like, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Like, it was great. And then they just did a woo competition. It was good stuff, man. The funniest one was where, which one was it? There's Montez Ford and Dawkins, Angelo Dawkins. Angelo Dawkins came out and Montez Ford was like, "Man, are your eyes red? You've been hanging out with RVD?"
Yeah. He had the what they call it,
the Visine.
Visine, yeah.
Yeah.
only thing with the Street Profits is I don't like how they use the word. They overuse the word fam.
Yeah. Well, it's on Angelo Dawkins' like headband. It just says because the one headband says Street Profits, and then the other one says fam. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he just overuses that a little bit. That's my only critique away from him. But hey, I love what Street Profits doing. Can't wait to see what they do in the future. Shout out to Angelo Dawkins right here from Cincinnati.
You're trying to get him on your show.
I'm just trying to meet both of them. I don't need an interview per se, but if I can get a picture with them, I'll be happy.
That'd be good stuff. But next one, Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. This one was really good. I was really digging. I haven't really seen much of Io Shirai since she went heel, so it was kind of cool to see how she changed her character, changed her look. At the end of the match, it was a Spanish fly from the top rope by Shirai failed to put away Candice LeRae, resulting in she just like melted down, and then she locked in the Kochi clutch, and LeRae went unconscious, and the referee called for the stoppage. Good stuff.
Best women's match of the night.
Oh yeah, for sure. This was really good. Io is fantastic. Candice LeRae is awesome. These two know what they're doing, and they showed that they're hashtag top gals.
Now my only thing is, like I said, maybe so do you, after this win, do you put Io back in the title picture? Like, that's my only thing. I don't know what they're doing with Shayna Baszler and who's her next opponent. I have no idea who it's supposed to be.
I don't know, man. They keep setting them up. She keeps knocking them down. So I don't know. It was kind of like Asuka there for a while, where it's like they just kept reusing the same women, but doing it in like triple threat or fatal four way or whatever. Maybe
they should do like a sort of like a gauntlet match for the title, or a battle royal, like something that totally stacks the odds against Shayna Baszler.
Yeah. I think that's the only way you can go at this point. Like I said, she might be their female Brock Lesnar going on to FS1. That's the only thing I can think of. But up next, well, real quick, because I have some live notes, like I said, from Greg. I'll catch up in the notes here real quick. He said Morrow is unanimously loved, which you wouldn't get that if you looked on Twitter, because the IWC for some reason just loves to crap on Morrow, and I don't get it. Like, have you seen that?
I don't pay too much attention to it, but me personally, Morrow, and this might sound like, and people might think I'm an idiot for saying what I'm about to say, but Morrow, he is this generation's Jim Ross.
I think so. People say, "Oh, he makes too many he makes too many pop culture references and all this other stuff." I'm like, okay, but he's keeping it relevant. I'm like, okay, listening back to Jim Ross, I'm not saying he wasn't as great as everybody says he was, but if you listen back to Jim Ross, every match was so-and-so used to play, nose tackle for the University, who gives a crap, and he had this many tackles and whatever. It's like every single match.
That's just called being informed and keeping up with what's cool, like what's trending.
Yeah, it's like
you rather
him
reference stuff from back in the 90s or the 80s or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like, would you rather him sound like the robots over on Raw and SmackDown? I've got one commentary note from SummerSlam that just really irked me that I'll get to later. But yeah, I love Morrow. I don't care what the nerds say. He said the opening of the show was badass in person. The Street Profits got one of the biggest pops of the night. The crowd was super hot for the match. Finish was unexpected since we all thought the Undisputed Era would win every belt. Then he said, I mean, championship, pal, damn it. They showed Ricochet in the crowd looking like a hipster, and he said Ricochet got a decent pop, but a small AJ Styles chant broke out in his section.
Oh, damn.
We'll get to Ricochet. He said Candice versus Io was a 5-star match. Seemed like Candice got a bigger pop, but as the match progressed, Io was the more favorite. He said that match shocked him. He liked both of them, but never expected it. He said, in my opinion, the first 5-star women's match of the year, all the kickouts had everybody jumping out of their seats. I don't know if I'd say 5-star, but I mean, he's not far off.
Yeah, maybe about 4.5 stars.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, like I said, yeah, I agree with you, about 4.5 stars. It was some good stuff. Good crap, pal. Matt Riddle came out, called out Killian Dane. I haven't been watching the show, so I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Me neither. Honestly, I thought he was about to make a reference like to Brock Lesnar or Goldberg. Something.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was going to call out some old guy, and then he called out Killian Dane, and the two of them just beat the hell out of each other. Greg said that Matt Riddle came out of the tunnel, like the Raptors tunnel right below him.
Oh, damn.
And, yeah. He said the segment was fun and got hot when they went on the stage. Major pop for the fall off of the stage. Which was it? Was it Dane that picked up Riddle and like jumped off the stage?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like crashed through them tables. Hey, them Canadian tables did the job, pal. I was talking. That's it's reference to last week's episode. Me and Santiago reviewed Triple Mania 27. The Mexican tables, no yob. All right, like they do not break for crap. They got a metal bar in the center of them to make sure they won't break. But they still freaking jump on them. I don't get it.
Jesus.
Mexican wrestling is weird, bro.
I'm not your bro.
Austin Theory was in the crowd from Evolve. Greg said, poor Austin Theory got little to no reaction. I felt bad. He's a great wrestler, but nobody knows who the hell he is, apparently. I guess more people tuned in to Fight for the Fallen.
Ooh.
That was my guess, too. Austin Theory had the match of the night at Evolve. Did you watch it?
I haven't watched all of Evolve yet.
Okay, well he was.
Honestly, I'm probably not going to go back and watch it. But I seen like the first few matches. I didn't see Cole and Tozawa.
That match was good, but Austin Theory, I feel bad. I can't remember the guy he faced, but Austin Theory was the Evolve champion. And the guy he faced was the World Wrestling Network champion, and it was a title unification match, I think. So, and Austin Theory won, and he's good. He looks like he should be in the WWE. He wrestles like he should be in the WWE. He's good on the mic. He's cocky. He reminds me of like a Randy Orton style, but more agile. But nobody knows who the hell he is, so that kind of sucks. The triple threat match, man, it was good. It was Pete Dunne versus Roderick Strong versus the champion Velveteen Dream. This one, the end of the match was Dream executed a Death Valley driver on Dunne, but Roderick Strong tossed him out of the ring and then hit the end of Heartache on Dunne. And I thought, well, this is it. Roddy's winning. And just when it looked like he was going to win, he had the cover. 1, 2, Velveteen Dream, because the camera angle looks like Dream comes out of flipping nowhere and just drops on him.
Yep.
But if the camera would have been in position, you could have seen Dream climb to the top rope and hit the Purple Rainmaker off the top rope and broke up the pin. And then he pins, I think he pinned Dunne to retain the title.
My biggest gripe with this match, because I thought this could have been a chance for NXT to set up a great feud between Cole and Velveteen headed to Fox Sports 1.
Yeah.
And then you could have kept the North American title feud between Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne. I mean, those two already had history, so that rivalry would have made sense.
Well,
I just didn't like that Pete Dunne ate the pin.
Yeah, I don't know. This match seemed like it was good, but it wasn't quite there for me. Did you feel that way, or I mean, were you satisfied with this?
I was pretty satisfied with the match. It just felt like it should have been a one-on-one match. It seemed like they threw Pete Dunne or Roderick Strong in there when they didn't have to, because there was plenty of times where we were just waiting for Velveteen Dream and Pete Dunne to square off. Because honestly, I think that's probably the match people would have probably wanted to see more. But then every time Roderick Strong, played, he did something, and we didn't get those two going at it like we wanted to. So hopefully, even though Pete Dunne ate the pin, maybe this could set up a rivalry between Dream and Dunne headed to FS1.
Right. Well, Greg had said triple threat match was something. The crowd loved Dream's entrance. I, of course, hated it. Roddy got the biggest pop, which shocks me. After Fish and O'Reilly lost, I wanted Dunne to win. Dunne got a nice reaction. Here's where I took heat from the AEW fanboy in front of me. He said, after Dream won, which caught me off guard, and you'll see why I said that. This was before I think he wrote this up before I finished. He said, the dude started yelling 5-star match. I genuinely disagreed. It was a good match, but it seemed like the end, it seemed to end when it was getting hot. I felt like it could have been way more considering who was in it. I told him he's one of the fanboys that hands out 5 stars like candy. He disagreed, and then I caught him looking at Meltzer's Twitter. Need I say more? So there you go. But yeah, it was. I thought it was a good, genuinely good, but I don't know, maybe 3.5 stars.
Yeah, I'll go solid 4. Solid 4. It's definitely the third, arguably the third best match on the night for me.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. I'm not hating on it, but this next one is the NXT Women's Championship. It was Shayna Baszler defending against Mia Yim. And then Mia Yim had a pretty cool entrance, and I thought it seemed like she was pretty over. Yim fought out of Baszler's attempt at a Kirifuda clutch, targeting her injured arm. She did and tried for an armbar on Baszler. Baszler regained control, and this time when Yim targeted the arm, Baszler trapped her in a triangle and tapped her out to retain the gold. This one, I don't know. You and I talked about it. We had different opinions on, on the quality of it. I thought it was one of Baszler's best. I don't think Baszler's ever going to have just a holy crap, that was so amazing kind of match. But in the long run, I thought it was pretty good. Greg said,
this probably just comes down to me, like, in the short time, just like, this is my first time really getting to watch Mia Yim in the ring.
Yeah.
And she just didn't grab me. Like, she just didn't capture me in. Like, it was never a moment in there where I thought she was going to beat Shayna Baszler.
I actually suspended disbelief for a little while, and I was like, yeah, I think she could win. Like, she's this could be her time because it would be a shock because nobody expects it. But she's been beating down her friends, and now she beats her. I thought it would be good, but they want to keep the title on Baszler. They're building her up. Greg said the women's title match was fun, dragged a little bit at times, but started getting good in the last 7 minutes or so. I guess people were shocked who won. I never really thought that Shayna would lose here. This seemed like one of those matches that was a given, at least to me. They advertised the next NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, I believe, and they showed Walter in the crowd. Apparently, Greg said the crowd just went like ape crap for Walter. Which, I mean, I love Walter, but really? I don't know.
Yeah, Walter. I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's good. He's good at what he does, but it's just something about Walter that I don't get.
I don't know. I've always like since he's showed up, I was like, oh hell yeah! Like he's like, I don't know. There's only a couple of people in the UK brand that I'd consider stars, and I think he's one of them.
I mean, obviously he's one of them if they trust him enough to put the title on him. So obviously they see big money in Walter.
Yeah, and he's a big dude who beats the crap out of people. So.
It might just be his name, Walter.
That too. He already came prepackaged with a one-word name. He's Vince's guy, man. You're big, beefy, you beat people up, and your name is Walter. God dang it, you win everything. I just want to see that.
Of a guy named Walter.
Walter! Oh, man. But, yeah, the main event was 3 stages of hell, but they didn't call it that.
They didn't call it that, right.
It was weird. But the opener was, I guess, just a regular match.
Which confused me for a minute because never at one moment did they announce what match it was.
Yeah. They were just all 3 falls of a different stipulation. Therefore, it's a 3 stages of hell, but they just, whatever. But this first one was just a regular match. Johnny got disqualified because he grabbed a chair and just beat the ever-loving piss out of Adam Cole with it.
Which made sense.
Right.
Because especially for his stipulation, he knew he chose a street fight, so it's all right, man, let me just DQ you. Let me just get DQ right now so I can start beating your ass with everything else legally.
Yep. Yeah, the second fall, like you said, street fight. Here's what Greg said about it leading up to that fall. He said, main event, wow. First, it was obvious we'd see a third fall. Johnny getting DQ'd was fun because it was smart. Second fall was awesome. The crowd was hot when they took the match to the middle of it. They fought basically right in front of me. The tap out seemed from out of nowhere, but looking back, it makes sense because of what was next. Yeah, he locked in the Gargano escape. And I thought it was kind of random that it ended when it did, but it was fine. I thought it was still good, and the fact that it was random almost made it better. It's you don't always want to see it coming. That last fall, though, man, what the hell? They drop a gigantic cage with barbed wire around the top, and there's weapons all over it. That was weird.
It was almost like the that Asylum match Jericho and Ambrose had a few years ago, minus the barbed wire up top.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But the match ended with Gargano delivered an avalanche Canadian destroyer for a 2 count. The crowd flipping went nuts for that one. Gargano produced a bag, which, were you thinking it was thumbtacks?
Everybody was thinking it was thumbtacks, and if you go back and listen, the crowd was kind of upset it wasn't thumbtacks.
Yeah, they booed. Well, the thing was I was watching it.
Go ahead.
I was watching and I thought, if that is thumbtacks, Vince McMahon is a piece of crap because he's AEW is barbaric. They make each other bleed. By the way, thumbtacks. I'm like, are you really? And then they didn't. So I'm like, okay. But then they were bolt cutters, and he went up and he cut off a piece of barbed wire. I'm like, is he seriously? And they teased it and didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, when I seen the cage lowered at first, the bag was one of the things that first caught my eye. I was like,
same.
Thumbtack? Like, are they really about to try to use thumbtacks?
I know. I was like, what?
And then, like you said, when they open it, it's like, okay, it's not. It's just bolt cutters and other tools or whatever.
They could be like Abyss and get broken glass.
Oh gosh. Or I forget which wrestling show I was, what company it was, or Legos.
I saw that. That was so stupid, but it was funny. But yeah, they both climbed to the top. There was like some structure in the center covering up the barbed wire, so if they wanted to stand on the cage, they could. The crowd started chanting, "Please don't die."
Yeah, because I thought that was a table they were standing on, and I was like, I hope that's nailed down or bolted down, because that thing looks like it could flip if you stand on the edge of it.
Yeah, for real. And they had set up 2 tables below them. I don't know why they put the tables like right next to each other, because they only went through 1, I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah, they did. I think they just overshot it.
Yeah. And they just they both jumped and landed through the table at the same time. Adam Cole just draped an arm over Gargano, 1, 2, 3. They did the Shane McMahon Miz WrestleMania finish, basically.
Yeah, but my only issue with that is when you go back and watch the fall, Cole took the worst of the fall.
I know. He was bleeding from his side.
Yeah, and he's the one I didn't have no problem with him winning, but you might want to do something after that. Like, he took the worst of the fall, but then he's like, "Oh, I got a penny." No.
Yeah, it was a little weird. But yeah, Cole retains. I will say Johnny Gargano, I popped for him because he came out wearing his Wolverine gear. I was like, Johnny Wolverine. And that's the only kind of Wolverine I like, by the way. But at the end of the show, I guess William Regal came out. Johnny did a curtain call, bow, whatever. And the next day on Twitter, it was trending #Thank you, Johnny.
I hope he doesn't get called up.
It's all but confirmed, which is weird because, I don't know, I always considered him basically Mr. NXT.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been the lifeblood of that brand. So, I don't know, but that was TakeOver. That last match, how many stars would you give that one?
4.7. It was the best. It was the best match of the night, but their second match, in my opinion, was the best of the trilogy. Yeah,
I agree. I think this was good. Had a lot of gaga with it, but it was good. It was a great match. I'd give it 4.5, probably 4.5 stars.
I can go back and watch all 3 of these matches though, and be entertained every single time though.
Oh, for sure. Here's what Greg said about it. He said the cage lowered. He said, I guess Regal announced it earlier, but my section was oblivious to the barbed wire and weapons. We saw the cage before the show. Because he sent me a picture. He was like, you want a small spoiler? And I was like, sure. And he sent me a picture of a cage with a black curtain covering it, like above the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay. But he said, major ECW chants, which I pissed people off by telling them that was trash.
Oh, God.
He said the double super kick was awesome. Major NXT chants. Fire extinguisher was awesome live. Huge pop for the Panama Sunrise and the kick out. Canadian Destroyer, of course, gets a major pop. When Gargano opens the bag, huge boos because it wasn't tax. Brass Knucks was a nice homage to Regal. I think people missed that. When Gargano cuts the barbed wire, it gets a huge pop, but it went nowhere, and I was okay with that. But some started booing when it amounted to nothing. Loudest pop of the night went to the finish. The crowd was split on who they wanted to make the cover. When Cole won, it was all of a sudden Adam Cole, baby. Huge ovation for both after the match. Gargano got major love and seemed to say goodbye. Not sure if this was on TV, which it wasn't. Regal came out to a pop and basically cemented Gargano leaving by shaking his hand. Crowd chanted, "Thank you, Johnny," from that moment till the end of the show was officially off. He said, overall, an amazing event. The August TakeOver is clearly the TakeOver. He said the biggest pops of the night went to Adam Cole's entrance, Street Profits' entrance, the Fall Off the Cage, Velveteen Dream's entrance, Walter, and Mauro Ranallo. He said, not much heat. NXT fans love everything. The bag not being taxed was all I can think of being booed. So, that's that.
Great show.
I
need to experience a TakeOver soon.
Yeah, you do. I got to go to 2. I'm thanking God for that one, but you and I, we'll have to go sometime.
I'm already pissed off. I'm going to have to miss All Out at the end of the month.
Oh, man, I know. Same here. But you want to get into some SummerSlam here after the break?
SummerSlam, baby.
All right, well, we're going to take our last break of the show. When we come back, it's all things SummerSlam. We're going to the WWE side, baby.
Hi, everybody. I'm RJ Metzger.
And I'm Rachel Metzger.
And we're the Skeptical Skeptics.
Each week we talk about all the crazy things in the world, ranging from the paranormal to Bigfoot to UFOs.
And we look at it from the perspective of the believer, the skeptic, and everything in between.
So come check us out on the MSC Podcast Network.
Or go to skepticalskeptics.com and follow us at SkepSkepPod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We are the Super Media Bros Podcast.
Each week, we give a comedically informative take on movies,
music,
television,
video games,
and much more.
Put your shades on and listen to all episodes on supermediabrospodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah.
Shades on.
We're off.
All right, we're back, and it's time to dive into some SummerSlam. We talked a lot about TakeOver already, but overall, what do you think of SummerSlam?
SummerSlam, very, very, very solid show. Despite not having some of your big names on there, such as Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke, Braun Strowman, but very solid pay-per-view. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really weird. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but we did see Braun Strowman sighting the next night on Raw. For those of you, we're not going to talk about SmackDown because we're recording. To get this posted on a Wednesday, we have to record on Tuesday, so SmackDown has not happened for us yet. I know we're giving away trade secrets, brother, but that's the way it is. Did you watch the pre-show?
I did not. I had other things to tend to, but I did go back and, as you said earlier, I watched it after SummerSlam, after the main card. I went back and watched it to sped through it.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch it at all. I didn't have time. So when I kept hearing people talking about Edge, and then Greg sent me his notes and said something about, he said Edge got a huge pop, and I'm like, what are you talking about, Edge? He was like, oh, he was on the pre-show. I'm like, damn it! I got to go back and watch.
That's why I went back and watched it, because they said Edge had showed up.
Yeah, and apparently he did some physicality, which blew my mind.
Yeah, he gave our buddy Elias a good old spear.
Good. That I don't know, man. I just can't like Elias. He sucks. He's entertaining at times.
He's doing his job.
Yeah, I get it. Just Greg said something about he had a. Have you watched Raw, right?
Yes.
Okay. Greg said something about he had a huge botch on Raw, but I didn't see what it was. Like, I don't know if I missed it.
Who did he wrestle? He wrestled Ricochet.
Yeah. He said it was the worst botch he's ever, or one of the worst botches he's ever seen, but I missed it. Cause I think I was like half-heartedly watching that match because I didn't fully care.
I was at work. I had it on, but yeah, I missed the botch too.
For all of you out there, if you saw it, send me a DM or your reply to this when I post it on social media. Let me know what the hell it was, because we're stumped. But yeah, I guess the pre-show match was a cruiserweight title match. You said
which of course.
Oh yeah, you said you sped through it. Was it any good?
It was okay. That was the first match of the pre-show. Obviously, it was a solid match.
Well, I guess Drew Gulak hit a throat punch on Oney Lorcan and delivered a Cyclone Crash to retain the title.
Yes.
All right then. Well,
and
those two.
I would elaborate more, but honestly, I didn't know who Oney Lorcan was.
Oh man.
I barely watch NXT. I don't watch 205 Live.
Yeah, I liked when he was in that tag team with Danny Burch. They were a good hard hitting team. Never won a damn thing, but they were entertaining. But yeah, then we get Buddy Murphy versus Apollo Crews, which was the match itself was just a catalyst because we get the Vintner Rowan coming out, and he blasted Murphy with a big boot to the face, followed it with a brutal assault, including a running crossbody that left Murphy flattened on the floor, a powerbomb on the post, which looked like it could have injured him. Ended the beating before Rowan demanded, "Keep my name out of your mouth." Because if any of you remember, last week, Buddy Murphy told Roman Reigns that he thought it was either Daniel Bryan or Rowan that was trying to injure Roman Reigns. Meanwhile, Daniel Bryan looked at the match and said nothing. You know, he did the infamous watching from the side.
Exactly. Because you can't have a wrestling show without somebody watching the screen from the side.
Oh yeah, you got to show the front of you while you're watching TV. That was weird. But then we get this. It was Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were defeating the Iconics for the tag team or the women's tag team titles.
Which, by the way, can I stop you right there and just say I love Alexa Bliss. I don't look. She's not my favorite women's superstar, but I love the fact that she had the Buzz Lightyear wrestling gear. That's what I'm getting to.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch the match, but one of my friends said something about her doing the Buzz Lightyear laser thing.
Yes.
And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about, so now I got to go back and watch it. That's kind of funny. Of course, she went with it. That's the most random gear ever.
Matter of fact, I'll send you a picture of a side by side of her and Buzz Lightyear doing that. That was pretty great.
Good Lord. Well, while she was wearing that, Nikki Cross wore like bright green, like lime green, like trim on her outfit to match. And then the Iconics were dressed like the Hart Foundation, basically. They were in like black and pink and black. But the end of the match was Alexa Bliss exploded into the match, and with a well-timed intervention from her partner, she was able to put Royce away with Twisted Bliss for the they said successful title defense. Oh yeah, that's right. They won on Raw. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yes.
Random.
No, I loved it. Because
it was good, but yeah.
I'm glad they won the titles because, I mean, the Iconics weren't doing nothing with them. They weren't on TV as much with them, but now they're on Alexa Bliss, who's on TV every damn week. So at least we'll get to see them now.
Yeah. I just got
last night.
I just got that picture. That's so weird. She's such a nerd, and I love it. Well, it's Disney, so she's got to love it. I would assume this match wasn't very good. One, because of who was in it, and the other was because Bleacher Report gave it a D. Because they grade matches, and they graded it with a D.
I'm sorry, like, people get on me all the time just saying, "Oh, you hate women's wrestling." It's like, no, but I'm sorry, the Iconics aren't. Their in-ring works. They need a lot of work in-ring still. Especially,
definitely.
Especially Billy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Neither one of them are good. Their promos are okay, but it was time to take the belts off them. They didn't really defend them hardly at all.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They didn't do nothing with the belts. They made them irrelevant, basically.
Yep. After they made this big deal out of how historic they were, they gave them Boston Hug Connection, and then it's like, oh, the Iconics get them. Like these titles were made for the Iconics, and they suck it up. They have terrible match after terrible match, and then they don't defend them. It's like, okay, I guess they're not that historic then. But we've got an actual good women's match to open the real show. It was a submission match for the Raw Women's title, Becky Lynch versus Natalya. Natalya got a big pop. I mean, you'd figure she would. She's in Canada, and she came out holding the Canadian flag. Becky Lynch seemed like she got a pretty good pop, too.
Becky's was louder than Natalia's.
Yeah. But these two, I thought, had a really damn good match. I gave it like at least 4 stars. I thought it was fantastic.
About 3.7 for me. It was a great match to open the show with.
Yeah.
You had 3 women's matches on the card, and I think I predicted one of them would have opened the show, and obviously Natty being back in her home country, not necessarily her hometown, that she would start the show.
Well, if you count the pre-show, there was 4 women's matches actually. So I mean, this was good. They traded their own finishing hold or submission holds. They traded each, they kept using each other's submission holds. It was good stuff. And Becky won with a disarmer, and they're doing the injury angle with Natalya now, like saying that her elbow is dislocated. And here's where I got super annoyed with the commentary, because Renee Young, it starts off with Michael Cole. He says, "Oh, you've been vacationing in Toronto," and Renee Young goes, "Yeah, I seen this, I seen that, I did this, I did that, and everywhere I go, everybody always just wants to know, is it the sharpshooter or the disarmer?" And I'm like, really? Everywhere you've went for a week, the only thing people will ask you, hey, so is it going to be the sharpshooter or the disarmer? Who's going to win that women's match? Like, F off, Renee.
and then she took a shot at Pittsburgh, which I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that part, but
yeah. Well, she had Mr. Pittsburgh next to her with Corey Graves.
I mean, exactly. That's why she did it. But I mean, like, she's still learning. I'm not. Some of the things Michael Cole still says makes me cringe. So.
Well, they do that crap all the time, where somebody will be like, "Oh, everywhere I go, they want, people are asking me about, some match that nobody gives a damn about in reality," and it's like. Come on, dude. Like, nobody asked you any of that. At least try to be somewhat realistic. Like, I get what they're doing. Like, oh, well, everybody cares about our product. It's like, dude, just quit. Just stop. But that was a solid match. Open this show. It was a lot of predictions and rumors talking about that maybe Becky would probably lose the title. Maybe we get a returning Sasha or a returning Ronda Rousey. But they
seeing what happened last night on Raw, they did the right thing, keeping the title on Becky.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Natalya didn't need it right then. And, she was in her home country, so she had to lose. But Becky kept the title. The next night, Natalya comes out and says it's been 1 year since her dad died and everything. She starts getting emotional. And then Sasha freaking Banks makes her return. And I was like, awesome. But what was weird was she had a wig on, and it looked real. She had it tucked into her jacket. She had a pink wig on, and then she ripped it off to reveal blue hair, and then she attacked Natalya. I was like, what was the significance of that? Now I've got blue hair, therefore I'm a heel.
By the way, my new favorite color is blue now. I loved every single moment of that. She showed her black side. She just snatched the wig off and went full blown on Natalya, and I loved every single moment of it. The biggest thing with that is the crowd gave no remorse. They were saying thank you, Sasha. Canada's Sam.
Oh yeah. Well, by the way, that was Tarren that said all that, not me. So direct your hate to him. Yeah, that was. And then Becky came out and she beat the crap out of Becky with a chair. And I was like, well, damn. I can't remember what the next. I mean, we got a couple pay-per-views before Survivor Series, so maybe we'll get a Hell in a Cell match with Sasha again. I don't know. I hope not, because I don't think she needs to be in a cell, but we'll see. We'll get her versus Becky.
I think they're going to do that, because the next pay-per-view is it Night or Clash of Champions?
Night of the Champions, maybe? I don't know.
Something Champions where every single title's going to be on the line.
Yeah.
And I think that match, I think they'll have a match there, but I think that'll obviously end like a count out or something where they carry it over to the next pay-per-view, which is Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that could be it. I wouldn't doubt it. Greg said that the crowd for that match, by the way, was 60-40 for Becky. He said very close split. Crowd was hot for the match, though. The next actual match we get is Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler, which is the most random thing I'd ever think I'd see in the year 2019. And
Goldberg.
What's hilarious is, you hear the marks that they're all, Goldberg's old, he needs to retire, he sucks, nobody likes him. As soon as his music hits, Goldberg! Shut up.
Exactly. Scott Dawson. He tweeted that same thing about Brock Lesnar. They're talking about how fans say, "Oh, I'm sick of Brock Lesnar. He needs to go away. He's a glory hog, whatever." But when Brock Lesnar comes out, or he's in the ring, they have a match this is awesome. It's WWE fans are some of the most fickle fans, as Daniel Bryan would say, and I agree with him.
Yeah, just the IWC sucks. But, yeah, he got freaking just obliterated by Goldberg, as you figured. He kept begging for more. What do you think of this new thing? Because he did it again on Raw with The Miz, where The Miz just, whooped his ass twice in a row. What are you thinking of this, crazy, stupid Dolph Ziggler gimmick?
I don't know. Is this supposed to be Dolph, trying to reinvent himself or something? I don't know what direction Dolph is trying to go in, or what is he trying to do?
Dumb, I guess. I don't know. It's he just insults people. They beat the crap out of him. He insults them more. They beat him up more. He just looks like a nerd.
Unless he's trying to bring out everybody's mean streak. I mean, it made sense for him to call Goldberg back out because obviously we knew Goldberg was going to get the win. We knew the match wasn't going to last long. But just to show that Goldberg can come out and still deliver 3 vicious spears. I probably would like seeing one more jackhammer, but
he freaking murdered the Dolph Ziggler with those spears.
But yeah, Dolph did his job. He made Goldberg look strong. Like
hell yeah.
That's a great final match or final ending to Goldberg's career. If that is it.
I don't think he's done. Dave Meltzer said he thinks he's comparing Goldberg to Bruno Sammartino in the way of, he said, I think that's going to be his role now, where like when Bruno was old and he couldn't go as much as he could, but he was still a star. He was very limited, and Vince would be like, "Hey, can you come in? I need to sell some tickets and pop I need to really get the house built up here and just come in and do a quick match for me." He could always count on Bruno for that, and I think that's Goldberg.
Well, Goldberg's making a lot more money than Bruno did, so I'm not mad at Goldberg for keep coming back.
Oh yeah, he's got a wife and kid. He can go do 2-3 big matches a year, be home, and his matches are like less than a minute. So
exactly, his entrance is probably longer than the match.
Hell yeah, as long as he doesn't keep hurting himself like when he concussed himself in Saudi Arabia.
Exactly.
Good Lord. What Greg said about it, he said Goldberg was cheered heavily. Didn't expect that. Second entrance was even more heavy than his first.
Right.
Big laughs at Dolph. We get the U.S. title match. It's Ricochet and AJ Styles. This one was a little odd. The OC is now officially taking shots at the Bullet Club.
Okay, how are they doing? Okay, what did I miss?
Because they say the official, the original, the only club that matters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when they cut, because it says that on their Minitron, and then as they're coming out, like their Chiron on the bottom, it flashes. It says the official, the original, the only club that matters, and then it puts up the OC logo, and it's like, I don't know. Jay White and the Gorillas of Destiny might have something to say about that, and Bad Luck Fale.
And my thing is, the original.
Yeah, AJ was leader number 2.
I was about to say, yeah, wasn't Finn the original?
Yeah, it was Finn's group.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, come on now, make it make sense. But hey, I guess you have Carl Anderson, who's been there from the beginning too. So I guess they can.
Anderson and Gallows.
Right.
I like how Gallows is painting his face again, like back when he was Doc Gallows in Japan.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's some good stuff. I did pop a little bit when Ricochet was dressed like Nightwing. That was pretty cool. Did they put a sound effect in his freaking theme, by the way? Because like when he came out on Raw, I didn't catch the whole thing, but it sounded like they put some like freaking sound effect, like ping ping.
Yeah, that's happens at the beginning of his entrance every now and then. So it sounds like a bullet hitting a canteen or something.
That sucks, really bad.
Yeah, you just now heard it. They had this isn't new. This has been going on for like the past couple of months.
Wow. So they gave him the Aleister Black treatment. Because people were bitching that with Aleister Black's like entrance when he like rises up, now they added like some creaking noise. Good Lord.
My thing with Aleister Black's entrance is it's not enough smoke now. Like back in NXT, we didn't see the board he leaned up on. Now WWE, you can clearly see the board.
They got to save that money.
By the way, quick side note. What do you think of the pyro returning?
That was pretty cool. They had actual pyro on SummerSlam. A good time to do it because it's, I think it's the second biggest show of the year, so might as well.
Well, why are there only 2 guys to get? Well, I mean, obviously Goldberg. You can't have Goldberg's entrance without pyro. So I get that. And then
the other one.
They gave Brock pyro.
Oh,
which I take credit for that. Because I tweeted Monday. You know how Brock does that? His little his little entrance where he yells, and I tweeted, I was like, tweeted WWE like, that looks stupid without pyro. Stop having Brock do that. Then what do you know? SummerSlam, pyro.
Yeah, I always liked when he jumps up on the ring apron and they would blow the pyro. Like, that was always my favorite.
But they didn't give him that pyro.
No. I think it looked so much better with the pyro in the ring, though, because he always did that and he, like, leaned back and roared when the pyro went.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to quit roaring, by the way, because when you can hear it, like, it looks intimidating, and then you hear it, and it's like, ah! It's the funniest thing ever. Yeah, Greg said crowd was more pro AJ than Ricochet, but Ricochet had a good amount of cheers. Massive eruption when he locked in the Anaconda Vice on AJ. He said they erupted for the finish. The finish, you're going to see the second distraction from the OC affected Ricochet's timing, and he soared right into the waiting arms of Styles. He freaking did like a Dragon Rana, or tried to, and AJ nailed him with the damn Styles Clash. It was effing insane.
Yep. I
was like, damn. What would you give that one for a star rating? I'd say like 4 3/4.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, just a little. This is like a tad bit above 4 stars.
Yeah.
It was, I would say, from a pure wrestling standpoint, that might have been the match of the night. Just strictly from wrestling, like the in-ring stuff.
Yeah, I'd say so. I absolutely loved it. I mean, you can't have a bad match between those two. Getting through some of these here. SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley versus Ember Moon. I don't know about you, but I was talking to other people. It seemed like I realized it was their first match together, but it seemed like the chemistry wasn't all the way there with these two.
Chemistry wasn't there. Those damn Mother Canuckers ruined it. Like, they weren't interested in it. They started chanting Sasha Banks during it.
Yeah. The match was, I mean, and these two are very talented. I was half and half because I wanted Ember to win, but at the same time, Bayley's been freaking great as the champion. So I'm like, I was torn.
Yeah, obviously I'm a huge Ember Moon fan. That's my side. That's my side piece.
Greg said lots of cheers for Ember. Poor Bayley got hella heat, except from him. Crowd really died down after the opening bell. Lots of people went to the restroom. Damn shame because it was a pretty decent match. Definitely not what I expected though. Pretty decent pop for the finish. Those of you, the finish was Ember Moon fought out of the Bayley to belly, but fell prey to another. This one off the top rope as Bayley successfully retained her title. Getting on to Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon. Of course, Shane being the boss. Oh, the special guest enforcer has to be Elias. And just adding more gaga and crap. Crowd chanted, "You can't wrestle" at Shane at one point. This was something. But
Kevin Owens he didn't get quite up to that level, but for today's era, he got almost like a Stone Cold pop.
Yeah. Well, Greg said up to that point he got the pop of the night. Heavy crowd support all match. Elias got a couple of boos. He said the finish was loved by all. Basically, Owens managed to take out Elias with like a front roll off the apron. And then he beat the crap after the refs were down. He beat the crap out of Shane with a steel chair, or no, he beat Elias with a steel chair. I'm sorry. The original official recovered and removed the chair from the ring, allowing Owens to hit a low blow on Shane and hit him with a stunner. Got the win. This one, it was done. It was well done for heat. It got Owens over. As a match, I'd give it like 2.5 stars.
I'll go about 3. I was expecting Shane to get the win, and then they just have Kevin Owens show up every week, just like bucking the system. But
I'm kind of overseeing that stuff, so I was like so glad. I'm like, good, they're finally building up Owens, so he needs it. And he came out in his Raptors shirt. So everybody doing Raptors stuff. We got Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus. This one was really good. I say it dragged a little bit at times, but that's a normal Flair match, whether it's Rick or Charlotte. It just kind of drags because, I mean, it's the way they wrestle. Greg said Charlotte gets very little reaction. He said Trish got a small pop, but on the network it sounded pretty big. He said from the crowd, though, it didn't sound very big. He said, I know Owens got a major one just prior, but this was terrible as far as the pop goes. He said, pretty fun match, but the crowd just didn't care. There were more boos for Charlotte than cheers for Trish, believe it or not. Lots of slow moments. Crowd got restless around the halfway point. Last 5 minutes or so picked up. Shocking finish. We all thought Trish had it with the chick kick. Lots of love when Trish gave her curtain call, basically.
I mean, what do you expect? This is Trish's first match since what, about a year ago?
Yeah, but I mean, she looked great in multiple ways.
She looked like she could still go, but obviously it was going to be a slower paced match. She doesn't do this often anymore.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's that. Plus, I mean, Charlotte that's how she wrestles. So I mean, but she wins with a figure eight. I thought it made both women look good all the way around. It was great. What do you have to say about Kofi versus Orton here?
Oh my God!
A New Day in their Raptors gear,
and I guess David Woods pulled off his best Stevie Wonder impression.
Wow!
This was the worst match of the night, and this is where I really hated Canada. Well, Toronto, not Canada. Because it was barely no reaction for anybody. It seemed like they were more reaction for Randy Orton. Obviously, you heard the Kofi stupid and Randy sucks chant. They were going back and forth with that.
Yep.
But I just felt like it was times like Kofi tried to get the crowd involved, and it's barely little reaction, which obviously you can see Kofi's time as champ is coming to an end here pretty soon.
Sort of, but at the same time, I think I don't know. I mean, they acted like, oh, it's been years of build-up. It's like, kind of, but nobody was asking for this. It just kind of happened.
The finish just threw everything out of sorts for me because you didn't know what happened. And it was weird because it's like when Kofi punched Randy Orton, you heard the bell, and it's like, did he just get disqualified for punching him in the face? Like, what happened? But then you go back and rewind it. You have to really listen to hear the ref counting to 10, and then it's like, oh, okay, double count out. So
and you got the added heat of you're making fun of me in front of my family, so now it's personal and whatever.
Yep.
So they're gonna do return matches. Greg said it was like 50-50 for both guys in the crowd. He said major heat for the count out. You could tell a BS chant rained down. He said this has become a SummerSlam tradition, a screwed title match finish. He said odd heat for Kofi. Yeah. He said odd heat for Kofi, then cheers, then heat. I don't get it. Last two matches of the night. By the way, what would you give that one?
Worst match of the night for me. I'm sorry. That's like 2-7.
I'd give it three stars at least. But yeah, last two matches of the night here. Finn Balor versus The Fiend.
Oh my gosh.
Finn was in all white, which I thought was cool. I love that attire. He wore it in the Indies a few times. But man, The Fiend came out to a cover of his other song sung by whoever does the Firefly Funhouse song. And it was just the creepiest flippant entrance. And his lantern is his head with his eyes sewn shut and his mouth pulled open wide, and the lantern's in his mouth. Like, what the F?
Yeah, that was kind of creepy, and I hope many children didn't have nightmares that night.
I know. This whole thing.
Because that was the first, like, once his music hit, or once it got dark, like, that was the first thing we seen.
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's still got the lantern, and I was like, wait a minute, that's his head. That's like, his head.
That's what I say. Is that his head? Like, holy, yeah. But I love everything about the Fiend's entrance. I was nervous they was gonna ruin the entrance, his theme song. So I love the other one, the original one.
Yeah.
But this version is just as good.
It's creepy.
My only knock about this is obviously if they're going to have him wrestle on Raw or SmackDown, entrance is too long, so they're going to shorten it up somehow.
Yeah, or I mean, it can be like the Undertaker thing where the match is short and the entrance is long. You know. So
I wouldn't mind if they just kept him off of Raw or SmackDown and just had him cut promos here and there, but until he gets really established, just wrestle at all pay-per-views.
Yeah, this was creepy, just all the way around. He looked very strong, dominant, which he needed to. He freaking snapped Bray. I was
like, yeah, he killed Finn Balor.
Yeah, he grabbed him around the head and snapped his damn neck.
Like, I turned away for that. Like, that was like that. Ugh.
Yeah. And he caught him in midair and applied the mandible claw. And did he pin him or, like, was he out?
He pinned. The ref did count to 3.
That's what I thought.
But it's like, if he's out, just ring the bell.
Yeah, I know. But then the lights go out and they're still playing some eerie crap. I didn't know what was going on. A strobe light effect, like, hits him in the ring. And he, like, looks at the camera, then the lights go out again. I was like, what the F did I just see? This was great.
And then it ends with his laugh, obviously.
The match wasn't match quality, it was what it was. But it was just, it was what it needed to be.
Yeah, and big credit to Finn Balor for selling that. Like, he literally, like, he made it seem like he was terrified.
Oh yeah, I freaking loved it. I'm like, good on you. You got the guy over, not just by wrestling. This last match, real quick thing on that. Greg said major pop for Bray. Finn was not loved, though Bray is the new guy, I guess. Or I don't know what he's trying to say there. Major pop for the finish. Last one, Brock versus Seth.
Shocker of the weekend.
Yeah, like, what the hell happened here? Like, Brock just beat the piss out of Seth for a while. Seth hit him with the curb stomp a few times. Brock no-sold the hell out of it. But Rollins delivered a frog splash, set Lesnar up for the stomp. He delivered, but the champion kicked out. Another attempt landed him in the arms of Lesnar, who tried for an F5. Rollins countered, delivered a super kick, and put Lesnar down with one last stomp for the decisive, undisputed victory. So Rollins is the new Universal Champ. I thought it was one of Brock Lesnar's best matches yet. I'm going to give this one probably 4 stars.
Second match. Well, as far as in-ring quality goes, second match of the night behind Styles and Ricochet, but overall, this is the moment of the night. As far as everything involved, like, after Raw, I tweeted, like, there's nothing WWE could have done that made me believe that Seth Rollins was going to beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And then they pulled this off. Like, I was in complete awe. Like, I was shocked.
Yep. And now they're setting up something with the OC versus a random team. Is Seth Rollins, Ricochet, and a returning Braun Strowman.
But then afterwards on YouTube, I guess Styles challenged Strowman to a U.S. titles match next week.
Why? Oh, that's weird. That's whatever. We're clearly going to get Styles versus Rollins at some point, right? I mean, they teased it on Raw.
We will, but it's like they're putting Styles right back in the title picture. And I'm trying to think, is it going to be this thing where Rollins just can't like defeat the numbers of the club, like too many numbers, and they're going to get somebody with Seth or something?
I don't know. I mean, he's got his random thrown together team with him now. You know, Ricochet and Strowman. So,
but that won't last long. Like I would have understood if they announced a triple threat match. I mean, not triple threat, 6-man tag team match next week. But now it just seems like it's Styles versus Strowman for the U.S. title.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an odd thing. Greg had said major heat for Seth. WTF. Apparently he was booed. Brock is major loved in Canada. Eventually, yeah, in Nova Scotia, out in the middle of nowhere. He said eventually the love for Seth came in. The suplexes were cheered. Then Seth's comeback was cheered. Huge ovation when Seth won. This crowd was weird. But it was Canada, so kind of figured that one.
Damn you, Canada. Damn you, Canada.
It's bizarro world up there, man. It's freaking weird. But now they're coming back to America where things make sense.
I just want to apologize to the people if we felt like we were rushing during those last few matches, because it was a lot more I could have dove into, but
yeah. But I mean, it was what it was. You all saw the event. We gave our opinions. It was good stuff. We've been running for a while, and you gotta skedaddle. But thank you for taking time to be with me here today, Tarren.
No problem, sir. I always love coming on the Podcast Wrestling Society.
And definitely listen to Tarren Bland. He's got plug your stuff real quick.
You follow me on Twitter at Tarren Bland. I do another wrestling podcast on ESPN 1530 titled No Holds Barred with myself and Rick Ucchino. Do a Cincinnati-based sports podcast on ESPN 1530. Don't Question Yourself with myself and Mario DeRamus. Do a national sports podcast with myself, my brothers Josh Evans and Randall Palmer called Down to the Wire 513. And I do the Friday and Saturday night mix show on 102.3 The Beat. So,
and that's all here locally, but you can hear all this stuff on iHeartRadio.
Exactly.
So check that out. Like you said, follow him at Tarren Bland. I will tag him in this on Twitter. So go check that out. Next week, Greg is back. We are going to be covering the Raw and Nitro from June 7th, 1998, which was the night that Goldberg won the WCW title in the Georgia Dome. And on Raw, DX was wearing blackface.
Oh, God.
So,
do you smell what The Rock is cooking, as Triple H would say?
Yeah. Well, the croc just went to the bathroom, and you should have smelled what the croc was cooking. The brother was cooking. All right. Anyway, again, thank you for being with me here today, and we will see you all next week. Later.
Peace.